Anyway, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. You just fucked that shit all up though, because I was gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be the first guy to do that. You're Mike Gretzky, man. You know?
Oh, you're sweet, but I'm much fatter than Gretzky.
I know where the puck's going, but then you had to get all fucking meaningful and fuck my shit all up. But
sorry, dude.
No, it's all good. So thanks, man. Thanks for everything. And actually, I was gonna touch on that exactly. I finally got a screenplay writing, and it was after I read Tough Shit. Like you finally. I mean, it's taken 3 years, and finally, I fucking got something going. So thank you so much, man.
Well done.
You've inspired me.
I will plug that real
something.
quick while you brought it up. I wrote a book called Tough Shit, and I didn't mean it for it to be this, but it is a powerful document for change. And I don't say that in an ironic way. I've met so many fucking people in real life and on Twitter who are like, dude, your book, I bought it to read some fucking cum jokes, but you took me somewhere. You told me something important, and you know, that feels cool. So if you're looking to change your life, this sounds weird, but read Tough Shit. It'll do it for you. It's strange.
Yep, absolutely, man. I'm glad you didn't end up in one of your dad's spanker chiefs. So just thanks a lot, man. Really, the only thing I really have to say is if you could go back, the Red State, how fucking Harvey did you wrong, how would you replay that? Would you do something other than say, shut the fuck up?
Oh, the moment where I was in the theater and Harvey was talking and I told him to shut the fuck up. No, that was like, that moment had to happen, I think. That was, once again, like the only reason I would tell anyone in the middle of my movie was talking, or in any movie, if I'm sitting in a movie and people start talking, I'm not like one of these, can you be quiet? I'm like, shut the fuck up, because it now costs $12 to see a movie and shit, and so rarely can I convince my wife to leave the house, because normally she's like, we'll just watch it when it comes on fucking DVD or VOD or something. So if I can convince her to leave the house with me and actually attend a fucking movie, and people start talking, she immediately shuts down. She's like, this is why we should stay at home. Everyone's fucking talking. So instead of listening to that, I just turn and go, yo, shut the fuck up. My lady is here. And they look at me like, yeah, buddy, okay, because I'm not threatening at all. And they don't shut up, and it's a pain in the ass. Anyway, I forget where we were going with that.
Harvey. Just Harvey.
Harvey, okay, thank you. So I would say that to anybody, shut the fuck up. The fact that I said it to Harvey, I mean, it was hurtful because he knows better. And if I'd been doing it during one of his movies, like if I'd have been at The Artist, the first screening of The Artist when he picked it up, not before he got it, his first presentation, and I was in the back just like fucking, you know, Robert De Niro and Cape Fear, like, smoking a fucking cigar, because that was kind of like the equivalent of what he was doing at my theater. Like, yeah, he would be mad. He'd pull me aside and be like, what are you, out of your fucking mind? Shut up, go outside. So when I turned around and I was just like, shut the fuck up, like, I don't think it could have gone any other way. I think that was me kind of being real to myself. And it did piss me off, because he would have been as mad as me if I'd been doing the exact same thing as he was. I still haven't spoken to him since then. Yeah, no, not at all. He sent me an email, though, to be fair, after, I guess, Comic Book Men had been profiled in the LA Times or somewhere, the New York Times. Before the show came on, there was some ink. And I guess it must have popped up on his radar, and he sent me an email that said, Kevin, been thinking of you, saw the Comic Book Men thing. But he said the weirdest thing, he goes, as far as I'm concerned, you'll always be cool in my book. And that led me to believe that somebody was sitting around going, Kevin Smith ain't that cool, dude. It was weird. So I wrote him back an email and I was like, Harvey, I've been writing about you a lot lately, because the book was just about to come out. And I said, congrats on all the Oscar buzz and whatnot. It looks like it's going to do great things. And then I literally closed, was like, but you broke my heart and it hasn't repaired yet, goodbye. And signed it. It's important to write shit like that when you're 41 years old. Keep it emo and shit, like I'm mad at you, send him an email. I wonder, he didn't respond to it, so I wonder if he got it. He was like, oh, fucking grow up. But I know Harvey, and even in the moment, if he was like, fucking grow up, I guarantee as he went to sleep at night, he was just like, he's mad at me. That's what I think about Harvey. Like, he's a larger than life fucking figure, modern day Warner brother, Jack Warner or something like that. But he plays the game really fucking honestly, man. He cares. It pisses him off. You want to talk about, somebody asked me about critics and shit. Talk to Harvey Weinstein. As much as he loves him and shit, he gets mad. He'll call up a motherfucker and chew him out. I was at a fucking screening, and this was Chasing Amy, man. We were at the Tribeca screening room. The Tribeca building has a little screening room downstairs, and we weren't big enough to go rent out a movie theater to do like a real test screening. We didn't even have a print at that point. So we had a test screening down below in the Tribeca Film Center. and filled it with like, there's about maybe 30, 50 people in there and shit. And we came in and as the screening began, the lights go down, we're sitting in the back, and it's me, Scott Mosier, and Harvey Weinstein's with us. And so, movie plays, and nobody's ever seen Chasing Amy before. And so movie lights come up and shit, and they have somebody do the focus group. We're like, I have nothing to do with the movie. I just want to ask you a few questions about it, blah, blah, blah. So we're sitting in the back, and we can't sit in the back. It's not like I'm recognizable in 1996, but still, you know, if you're sitting in the back chairs, people might put two and two together, and they tell you to keep low so that everyone in the audience gives an honest opinion or shit. So me and Mosier are sitting below the desk line, and Harvey's sitting in a chair right next to us, but he's watching the whole thing. So they start the fucking night thing. What do people like? What people don't like? And there was one guy that got up. I'll never forget him. I wish I'd met him and talked to him and shit, but that wasn't allowed. But it blew my mind. He goes, I'm what you would consider a Kevin Smith fan. Now, mind you, this was, I'd made Clerks, which only ever played in 50 theaters, Mallrats, which didn't do much business at all and only ever played on 600 screens, and then this was Chasing Amy. So if somebody's like, I'm a Kevin Smith fan now, I've got a body of work, but in 96, I had those two. So my ears immediately pricked up. I'm like, a Kevin Smith fan? That thing exists, you know? So I was listening closely and shit, and the dude goes, I'm a Kevin Smith fan. Like, I love Mallrats. I am Brody. I wouldn't fuck Shannon Doherty either. And I was sitting there going, is that what that movie was about? But I let him go. I didn't say anything and shit. And he's like, but I just want to say, like, I love Jason Lee in that movie, and I'm watching him in this movie, and then all of a sudden, he's sitting there making out with Ben Affleck. What does that say about me? And me and Mosier were in the back, man, and one of the only times I ever fucking did this, because you're supposed to be quiet during the fucking test screening process, but I just yelled out, it means you're gay! And Harvey's sitting right next to us in the chair, and he fucking kicks me. This is putting a stop it. And I was like, sorry, man, sorry. So the Q&A kind of goes on as they're asking people, and somebody gets up and goes into a kind of film schooly breakdown of the movie about this and how it could have been this and wasn't this. You know, just broke it down, going, this is what's wrong with this fucking flick. And you know, that's always the most painful part because you're in the back of the theater and you're just like, let me at him, but he can't do anything and shit. I didn't have to do anything because all of a sudden Harvey, who's sitting next to me, and in eyesight of everybody, just starts going, oh, would you listen to this shit? Now, I could hear him, and I'm like, shut up, dude. And he was just like, yeah, shut up. He's going, this fucking idiot, this guy. You're an idiot. You know, and the fucking dude turned around and looked at him and shit. And me and Mosier were cracking up, and Harvey was sitting right there. He's like, it was me. I love shit like that. He played the game so fucking personally. But yeah, I haven't spoken to him since that moment, man. I imagine one day we will again, of course, but it was a disheartening moment. You gotta allow yourself that kind of shit. Sometimes your heroes let you down. You know, I made Cop Out. People know how they feel. I'm sorry, what time is it? I've been paying attention. It's 9 o'clock? Hey man, how are you?
Good.
Hold on 1 second. What time do we have to end? 9:15 right now. We got 15 more minutes. You guys want to hang out for a little bit longer? Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
I'm not even going to ask a question. I'm going to pass on to this guy because he's been waiting a while.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say, thanks.
That means a lot, because I know how difficult it is to get up and stand in a fucking line, man. And you literally stood in line to just be like, thanks. Thank you.
You've done a lot of good work, and some people don't appreciate what you've done. So.
Thank you. Thanks.
And I do, because I try to do, crap, but whatever.
I do too. Sometimes it doesn't work out. It becomes good.
Hey, I like Jersey Girl.
Me too. I liked it as well.
I didn't like J-Lo in it, though.
You didn't like J.Lo? Honestly, I do. I mean, I joked about her, but I like her in that movie a lot. If it had been a different time, if those two weren't fucking, it would have been a whole different experience. But if they weren't fucking, we wouldn't have gotten the performances we got. So as the guy who made the film, I'm happy that they were fucking, because it made the movie better and I got better performance of it. As the guy who had to market the film, I was like, why couldn't you have fucked me instead? That would have helped.
Well, I mainly wanted to thank you because you're helping other people that want to make films, you know?
Oh, well, thanks, man.
Not many people that have the credibility that you do would do something like that.
I don't know, maybe. I think there's a call for every filmmaker that's kind of like myself. There were those of us who got our jobs, who got noticed, popped up on the scene in the mid-90s and had Cinderella stories. I was one of them, where, I was a dude who worked at a convenience store and I went to Sundance in '94 with Clerks. And I went up the hill of fucking Clerk and came down the hill of filmmaker and shit, and everything kind of changed. I don't know how other people feel, and I think it's the same for other filmmakers who kind of came onto the scene like me. But you feel there's always a little residual guilt, you know? Like, I didn't work real fucking hard and like, oh man, I gave up 10 years and I fucking sold a house and all this shit. Like, I was living with my parents. It was relatively low risk what I did when I made Clerks, but it worked out. And you feel like you hit the lottery of life. And I don't want to be Kevin Spacey about it, but you feel like you want to pay it forward a little bit, you know? You feel like that feeling that you have, that I have every morning when I get up, where I'm like, there's hope, man. Like, there's hope. I remember getting up before film and being like, what am I getting up for? What am I doing today? Like, what is it all about and shit? Every day of my life since, you know, Clerks got picked up, I get up going like, what can I make today? Like, because now those opportunities are open up to me. So because of that, you want to pass it on. And like I said before, it's not even just altruistic where I'm like, I'm a good guy. I want to be around talented people that make me fucking laugh or make me feel good or make me think or make me, give me an insight into something I hadn't seen before. That's what art's all about, right? It just kind of makes you feel, it makes you feel more than an animal would feel. You know, I got a bunch of dogs and shit. They don't appreciate art. I keep trying to force them to watch my movies. They don't like them. So, you know, it's people, man. We as human beings, we can appreciate art. And whether it's, you know, it's art to some person, it's not art to another person, it's important to encourage that kind of thing. You want everyone to take the shot because you feel so fucking good doing it. And I've lived my life guiltily knowing for the last almost 20 years how criminally simple it was. It'd be wrong to not share that information, man. When you fucking like, when I was a kid and I figured out how to jerk off, you know how hard it was to not tell people about it? I found a good idea, man. And I thought I discovered it and nobody else did. And I just want to sit my friends down and be like, if you pull it, something happens! You know, but you rarely get that opportunity. So it's nice to be able to kind of do something and then pass on whatever you learn to somebody else, help them make their fucking shit, and keep art going. You know, art inspires art, and their art will inspire my art. Like, I saw Bindle Stiffs, and it made me want to up my game just a little bit. And I'm not even making comedies anymore, but I was like, shit, man, those dudes just added a fucking spoke to the wheel. They put a fucking another rung on the ladder. These dudes are doing the important thing. And the important thing isn't making $1 billion, which is, yes, of course it's nice that I'm not a communist, I'm a capitalist. I think movies should make money and stuff. I believe in that kind of thing. But that's not the primary. The primary objective in film, at least for me, or art of any kind, not just filmmaking, is just do something that hasn't been done yet. And do something that nobody else has tried yet. There's a world of story opportunity out there. We're not very complex as an audience. We like to see 3 simple stories. They say there are 3 simple stories that can ever be written. It's man versus, or woman versus man versus woman. And for the sake of keeping it short, let's just do the universal man. I know some women get uptight about that. My wife especially is like, it's not mankind, it's personkind. I'm like, okay. But in the short version of this, let's just keep it mankind. It's 3 very simple stories. Man versus man versus environment, man versus himself. That's it. And we're content to listen to everything you listen to, watch, see, is a derivation of those 3 very simple storylines. The sky's the limit at that point, man. You can go anywhere with those stories, and you can make them up yourselves and stuff. So having other people creating new stories that I didn't think about or someone else hasn't thought about before, that's gold, man. That's absolute gold, because it inspires your own art, makes you want to be better, makes you think new ideas. I love watching the same movies over and over again, but I don't get new ideas watching them because I had all my ideas watching them the first time. They're comfort food at that point. You know, a lot of people tell me, like, I like to watch your movies when I go to bed at night. And I'm like, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I watch news radio, or I watch Roseanne. I watch things that I know so well, I can recite the dialogue as I'm falling asleep. That's comfort. But that doesn't inspire you to get off your ass and do something new. New art does that. Somebody pushing at the edge of the envelope. Somebody fucking making the game just a little bit easier for us to get into. Somebody blazing a fucking trail, knocking down a wall. That's the kind of thing I look for. So I want to be around it. And young filmmakers, I'm not going to be able to bring that myself. I'm an old man. Young filmmakers bring it. So being around that is a cool thing. Anyway, over to you, sir. I love that fucking jersey.
Thank you. I actually bought it in Jersey from Mike.
From Zabzik?
Yep, from your store.
He's a killer, man.
And Ming is just the nicest guy in the world when we went over there. So my question is, you have your Sit network now.
Yeah.
And you kind of already hinted on this, but Hollywood Babylon is probably my favorite podcast, and it'll be awesome if it gets turned into a TV show. But my second favorite podcast is now Fat Man on Batman, and I would love to be able to see, you know, your interview with Mark Hamill live, because he just expressed when he transforms into the Joker, and I would just love to be able to see that.
It was amazing. I sat across from him. He would just be having a conversation, then all of a sudden he's like, and he strikes a Jokerish pose. So it was neat, and it'd be nice to have a camera on, but I'll be honest with you, you get better out of people when they don't have to worry about what they look like. They can be way fucking comfortable, especially on that show. It's a weird concept because you're like, hey, just sit here and talk about fucking every step of your life you took to the moment that you were involved with Batman somehow. So you want people to be comfortable and not thinking about like, what do I look like? Am I all right? Do I need makeup? And fuck, am I sweating? Just sit two people in front of a mic, no picture, and you're gonna get better results. Like an audio version of anything to me is always gonna be better than a video version or the moment you add a visual, because then suddenly you're overthinking it. When you just set up two mics and you're talking, it's extemporaneous, people are comfortable, you're never sitting there going, I look too fat, or fucking, I look gross, I haven't washed my hair, my dick smells. None of that shit is a factor. So that makes it more comfortable for people to just be themselves. So as much as I would like to be like, I want to roll cameras on Fat Man on Batman, I think it's better if it's more intimate. You know, I just like to tickle the ear pussy now, put stuff in your ear, that's what we call it. Eargasmic, so to speak.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure. News radio is awesome, isn't it? It's such a great repeat watch. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent.
Hola.
Hola. Diplomatic immunity.
Thank you. Gracias. I've been a big fan of yours since a long time. Basically, my favorite film, well, my girlfriend's and mine's favorite film would be Clerks 2. Basically the scene where Randall says something along the lines of, and straight from the debauchery of Tijuana, Mexico, and you know, you get all that scene. So I was wondering, how did you come up with that? I mean, how do you go, let's put Donkey Show in one of my films?
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
You must.
I mean, I've been waiting for years to ask you this question.
It's going to be so disappointing because I just came off of like the original. I stole it from Bachelor Party. When I was a kid, I was 13 years old. The summer I turned 13, I was staying with my sister at Cabrini College, and they were doing an arts camp there. And I'd gotten in trouble at my house in Jersey because I had some girl over my house where I lived with my parents while they weren't home, and they got home and like the bed was all messed up and shit like that. So like, you're getting out of here, you're in trouble. That was their version of you're in trouble. And they sent me to arts camp, you know, like you're a criminal, go to arts camp. So I went to arts camp with my sister. It was like a vacation. I was like, this is amazing. We sat around, we put on plays and made up songs and fucking did acting exercises. It was just such a good fucking time. Why am I telling that story all of a sudden? I got lost. What are we talking about again? Donkey Show. Anyway, thank you so much. I literally went back to Cabrini College and I was like, it was so much fun. Hit a pothole, as they say. So there were a bunch of girls living in my sister's dorm. She lived in a dormitory with a bunch of chicks. And my sister was doing classes and stuff, and she was also one of the counselors at the arts program and shit. So I was kind of left to my devices. I was staying in her room. So all the chicks on the floor adopted me as kind of like little fat boy mascot and whatnot. And they were all hot, cool college chicks, and I was non-threatening, chubby brother of Virginia. So they would take me out to the movies, and they would take me out to R-rated movies. So I was like, all summer long, like, what do you want to see? And I was like, Bachelor Party? And they're like, would your parents let you see that? I was like, oh yeah, they love Tom Hanks. So they took me to see that, Revenge of the Nerds. They took me like to a lot of R-rated movies and shit. So when I saw Bachelor Party, I'm 12 on the cusp of 13, and all of a sudden they introduced the notion of a donkey show, and it captured my imagination. I was just like, oh my God, you can do that? And it's not allowed, but it happens, like, you know, and it's always existed in my memory and shit. So when I was writing Clerks 2, it just, it comes from a part of me. Randall's mostly based on Brian Johnson, but Randall is kind of who I always wanted to be. And apparently who I always wanted to be was Brian Johnson. So when I write for Randall, I tend to write from, you know, the kind of super heart underneath, you know, the exterior, the subliminal heart, if you will. And I tend to go for the shit that I always like capture my imagination. So if I was always fascinated by a donkey show, Randall would always be fascinated by a donkey show. So when I'm writing the scene, I'm like, let me try doing it. But I just didn't want to do the same donkey show. So I was like, wouldn't it be even better if it was a dude fucking the donkey, you know? And that to me, I don't know, I remember telling my mom that, and she was just like, why not just leave it all out altogether? And I was like, because nobody's ever done a movie where some dude fucks a donkey, man, and like everyone's excited to see it, but then it turns out he's blowing the donkey and they're all horrified, but they can't look away. And my mother was like, oh, tiger. But that was where it came from. You know, sometimes really cool ideas come from someplace else. But whenever I went and talked about Clerks, I was always real upfront about like, I got the donkey show from Bachelor Party, man. That was it, the end of that narrative. Sorry.
And now we know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.